Hello everyone, Bruce here with a video to go over what's going on in week 2 and some other tips and tricks on how to navigate the CTEC 121 course. Okay, so the first thing is let's go under announcements. Okay, I send these out periodically. I don't try to bombard you with them because I don't want to clog up your inbox. But I've sent out 3 so far. You should read them. Sometimes I'll offer, a tip or trick or some extra credit in there. I also, by the way, offer a lot of extra credit in some of the videos. So there's been 1 or 2 people who, ping me on Slack saying, "Hey, I want the extra credit because you mentioned in the video if you wanted extra credit to contact Bruce." So I only saw 1 or 2 of those, and we have 19 people in the class. So yeah, the next thing I want to show you is under modules here. Okay, under modules, take a look at the let's go right here. Important course resources. And the one thing I want to point you to is the errata for the textbook because the textbook isn't perfect. There are a couple things that the author made mistakes with. The second is the tutoring schedule. And I know that some of you have already gone to Bilal, and Bilal's an awesome tutor. So here is the schedule. It's available in right here in the important resources module. Okay, so I really encourage you to either go see Bilal or seek me out on Slack so I can help you with your work in the class. The next thing is, let's see, let me go right down here. If you don't know how to configure Canvas notifications, I suggest you watch this video here. I suggest you bookmark the Python language homepage, python.org. And then all of the sample code for the book, I put a link to it. So if you don't feel like typing it all in, which I don't know if I, recommend just downloading it, because I always recommend, getting the feel of the language, knowing how to type it in, knowing why indentation is important in Python. Yeah, so download that code. The next thing is a Python cheat sheet that you can print out. It's a PDF, and it contains all of the language uh, syntax and references, so you want to download that. So I'm going into week 2, and here's how I recommend attacking, each module. Number 1 is read the outcomes. Just read, the 3 or 4 things we're going to learn that week. In fact, this week there's kind of a lot, I think. It's maybe more than 1 or 2. Yeah. So it's chapter 3 and chapter 7. So we're going to learn about numbers and statements and also how to make decisions in code using if, elif, and else logic. Okay, so that is in chapters 3 and 7. So that's the first thing I would do, just to get a broad overview of what we're going to cover. And the next thing is, the textbook reading, what specifically you should read. And then what I would do is I would watch the videos, accumulators and factorials, nested loops, simple decisions, try and accept, and what we call conditional program execution. And then I've given you a whole bunch of this is actually the sample code from the book. I gave it to you in each module, as well as the link at the top. I would download and go through the slides, and I can tell you that those written quizzes, a lot of the material comes from these slide decks. And then here's where it all matters, and that's in the skill building. What I do is I give you a problem, okay, and here's the problem, and then in the next document, as I call it, I give you a screenshot of the code, and the reason I do that is maybe you'll type it in instead of trying to just go to the bottom here and download it, because you're not going to learn how to code if you don't type this stuff in. You wouldn't want to go to a heart surgeon who only reads books, right, and watches videos. You're going to want to have that doctor, right, perform operations, right? Get it? I know that's an extreme example, but yeah. The other thing that I do in each skill building exercise is in the problem, I state the problem. I give you what's called an IPO, which you need to learn about, which states what the inputs are for the program, the processes that the program is going to need to perform without much detail, okay? Without much detail using simple English, okay? And then outputs, what the program is going to output. And then within the skill building, the solution, I give you comments for each line. In fact, you're going to be required in week 2, the programming assignment number 2, to place comments and an IPO, as we call it, inputs, processes, and outputs, at the top of your code. Okay, and you see what I do too. I actually put a block at the top here that gives the skill building exercise, the author, and the date. Okay, just a habit you should get into. Okay, so there are a ton of skill building exercises that focus on chapters was it 3 and 7. Okay, so you want to go through and read those, try to code them, and then look at the solution when you can, because half the course name is problem solving, right? Intro to programming and problem solving, and that's what programmers do. They just don't copy and paste stuff from the internet, right? Because we can have robots do that, right? You need to be able to solve problems. Scrolling down, again, I gave you a lot of skill building to go over. Programming assignment number 2 contains, I believe, 5 problems. Okay, so the first problem is going to have you have the user input a number, okay, from 1 to 10, and then depending upon what number gets typed in, you're going to print out the respective Roman numeral, and you're going to use if, elif, else constructs to solve that problem. In fact, there is a tips document, which I'll go through next, where I gave you some tips and tricks that you can use to solve these problems. Number 2 is also going to use some if, elif, else logic in addition to some booleans, okay? So it's going to have you enter a person's age and then tell you something about that person, whether they're an infant, a child, an adult, etc. Problem number 3 involves no decision making as far as program logic. It has you just get some input from the user and make some calculations. And so does, let's see. Let me just, I need to put my glasses on here so I can just read this. Write a program that asks the user to enter replacement cost. Nope, that's straightforward. Number 4 is another straightforward problem. You just need to figure out some calculations. And number 5 is again a straightforward problem right out of chapter 3. So the first 2 problems, believe it or not, are from chapter 7, and the last 3 problems are from chapter 1, 2, and 3. Going back to the modules here. Come on, computer. Come on, computer. Okay, I thought it would scroll down. Let's go down here. Let's go down right. So here, 2.4.2 are the tips and techniques for programming assignment number 2. You have another written quiz, which you have. Let's see how many attempts. There are 30 questions on this question. Look at that. I need to fix that. Okay, let's go in and fix that while you're here watching. Wow, Bruce can't type this morning. You can take the quiz 2 times. This quiz covers chapters 1, 2, 3, and 7, modules 1 and 2 in Canvas. Okay, you get 2 attempts. Okay, and everyone did quite well on the week 1 quiz. The next thing you have this week is your first practical quiz. And the practical quiz is going to have you code. Okay, it's going to have you launch idle and code several problems. And I'm going to open it up right now. And just know right here, practical quiz number 1. Okay, it says this quiz contains 2 programming problems. You have 90 minutes to complete it. So from the time you click the Take the Quiz button to the time you submit the problem, That's all you get. You get 90 minutes, okay? So what I would suggest you do is once you're ready to take the quiz, have your book open, have the internet open, right? Have whatever resources other than other students or other people you know, and code those two problems. Do the best you can. Same thing on the programming assignments. If you can figure a problem out, put as many thoughts or comments within the code telling me how you think the problem should be solved, because that means a lot. Okay, you may not always get the code to work, but if I can see that you're thinking in the right direction, that means a lot, and that counts for a lot. Let's see. Let's see. I think that's about it. Yeah, well, one more thing. Just one more thing here. The syllabus. Hopefully by now you've read the syllabus and you can see all the assignments and when they're due. Sometime around week 6 or so, I'll introduce you to your final project. And I believe your final project, let me go under assignments here, which you can't get to, tells me the breakdown, right? Written quizzes are worth a certain number of points. Practical quizzes are worth a certain number of points, and as well as the programming assignments and the final project. So the final project is worth, I think, 450 points out of the total number of points, which is defined in the syllabus. I believe, actually, let's just get the syllabus and look so we don't have to guess here. I'll click on the syllabus. It's going to download it. I'll open it up. Here's the syllabus. We're going to go to the bottom. We're going to go to the bottom here. And here we go. Final project, 450 points out of 1470. So 450 divided by 1470, right, is 30%. So your final project is going to be worth that percentage, okay? That's all I have. So if you watch this video all the way through and you want some extra credit bonus points, send me a direct message on Slack and I'll take note of them. Have a great week too.